Open up on 7. Move it out, Shiv.
Oh, yeah. Hero, huh?
Identifying prisoner 117, Shiv, Helix.
You think you can break me, Copper? Yeah, I've been in the darkest pits of the universe. Places that would make your bolts rattle. The eternity pits of Sword Doom. The iron holding no balance. Ah!
Greetings, new fish. I'm...
Captain Qwark. I don't believe it. You're here. I used to dream of being arrested by you.
Now get out of here. I was talking to you, Zed.
Yes, Captain.
So, new fish, I take it you followed my many, many adventures?
Of course I have. You're the most famous superhero in the galaxy.
He ain't famous anymore.
Words hurt, Solitary Bill.
I'm a huge fan. I even pre-ordered the new Ratchet and Clank holo game.
The what?
You know, the game based on that incident with you and that Lombax.
Oh, you must mean the holo film. Yeah, it's pretty good, if you like all CG.
No, I mean the game. It's based on the holo film. Look, here's my confirmation email. I'm having it mag shipped to prison.
They're making a game based on a holo film based on my life? But they haven't even consulted me. Oh, this is my fault. I've been away from my adoring public in this forsaken place too long. And now, no one will ever hear my side.
I'd like to hear your side, Captain.
You would? Well, then sit down, wary criminal, and I'll tell you a story. It all started with a hapless Lombax named Ratchet.
Where do you think you're going?
Hey, Grim! You're here! I thought you'd be down at the bazaar shopping for gravity coils.
Uh-huh. Well, I'm here. I'm always here. I don't suppose you sneaking out would have anything to do with those Galactic Ranger tryouts?
I just need 1 hour. Come on, Grim. These are the Galactic Rangers we're talking about. Captain Qwark will be there.
No leaving the garage until you help fix Mr. Micron's ship. Now get on that bolt crank. Look at this thing. Avionics fried, CPU fried, even the gosh darn gravity coils fried. Okay, let's see if these new Versa bulbs work. Look up. Do you see something flashing?
Yep. Left side looks good.
It's a miracle. Onto the afterburner lights. Look down. You see?
Lower left afterburner light checks out.
This thing might just be space-worthy after all. One more to the right.
Lower right afterburner works. So, are we good?
Yep, we're good. The news says the tryouts are being held at the fairgrounds. Show 'em what you got, kid.
And so Ratchet began his adventure, hoping to become a Galactic Ranger.
Rise and shine, Kizzle Plateau. It's 8 a.m. and it's gonna be a hot one today. Our first story is a sad one, folks. Last night at approximately 8:13 our time, planet Tenamule fell to what appears to be a Class 7 supernova. President Phyronix has issued a statement calling this a tragic natural disaster. But top know-it-alls are skeptical. This is the 4th planet we've lost in the last 3 months, leaving some to wonder, is there an evil force at play? Revered hero Captain Qwark has issued a handwritten statement that reads... Wait, is this crayon? Donnie, can you read any of this? It looks like a bunch of scribbles of some kind of duck. Anyways, I'm sure it was profound. Up next, the first planetary conjunction in over 1,000 years will occur next week. We'll call some single 30-something astrology enthusiasts and watch them lose their minds.
Hey, dudes, are you looking to extremify your sports experience? Then come on down to the Skid McMark Sports Shack. With over 20 locations opening across the system, we have everything you need to get more extreme. Hoverboards, propulsion mods, we even have the latest Gadgetron microgravity coils, guaranteed to push you harder and faster than ever before. So come on down and tell them Skid sent you.
Still don't see why you'd want to leave all this behind. Friendly people, beautiful desert, all the barbecued sand toads you could ever eat. Some people don't appreciate what they have, I suppose. What's the big deal about being a Galactic Ranger anyway? Bunch of action junkies looking to prove themselves by hurling their bodies in front of incoming bullets? Sounds like fool's work to me.
So in case you can't already tell, this is one of the most gorgeous games in existence, not just visually, but what's the word I'm looking for? It sounds like angel whispers.
Ratchet bashed his enemies using his trusty Omni Wrench.
We can throw the Omni Wrench just as in the original Ratchet and Clank, but we can actually aim it in this one with a cursor, while in the original we had to crouch and throw, which is a very different aiming system. Not that it was inferior or anything, because the game design was built around it. This still feels more smooth, though.
Disaster struck. For Ratchet did not have the key component required to help him traverse the ionized surface. Magna Boots.
This game has a very meticulous presentation with a lot of detail, but as a trade-off, this game is also far, far shorter than its PlayStation 2 predecessor. Like, it's shockingly short in comparison, but it's still long enough for me.
In order to best his foes, Ratchet used the warrior's time-honored tradition of jumping.
So while we're aiming like this, we can strafe around and even jump and double jump to avoid enemy shots, and that's what we're going to be doing for pretty much every battle in this game. Also, there's really no reason to come up here, but we will be coming back here later, so I thought it would be neat to look at that before we see it the next time. Because, of course, Ratchet and Clank does have a persistent world. It is a 3D platformer, after all.
Ratchet knew he faced mortal peril. Should he find himself on the verge of death, he'd need to find nanotech to heal.
Oh, I used that stuff after a bank robbery once. It healed like 3 out of 5 gunshot wounds.
The sound these frogs make when they die is so ghastly and ethereal, it's really surreal.
The Lombax displayed a flagrant disregard for public property. Look at him smashing crates. The hubris.
Maybe he was just saving up bolts so he could buy a new weapon to protect the galaxy with.
Hey, who's telling the story here? With his enemies vanquished, Ratchet forged ahead. His destination? Destiny.
There are a few hints that Qwark may be an unreliable narrator, but the idea is mostly unfounded because he gives Ratchet way more credit than he ever would normally.
Greetings, cadets, and welcome to the Galactic Ranger recruitment event. Step into the training course and let's test your mettle. Are you ready to be a Galactic Ranger? What about you, hombre? Ready to dispense some justice? Good luck, future Ranger.
Hello, recruit. Cora Baralux here. Show us how quick you can be on your feet by jumping over these obstacles. Good work. Now keep moving to the next part of the course. A good ranger is always mindful of their surroundings. Hop across these moving platforms. Good job. You could be the recruit we've been looking for. Keep moving to the next part of the course.
Hey there, recruit. I'm Brax Lectress, and my specialty is brute force. Let's see how well you can bash these crates. Hey, that was pretty good. Keep moving. It's time to get our hands on some firepower. Go ahead and grab a fusion grenade glove from this Gadgetron vendor. Awesome. Next step, blow stuff up.
So of course the selling point for Ratchet and Clank, as has always been, is the variety of weapons you get. The fusion grenades were always my favorite weapon, which I realize is kind of abnormal. But they deal really nice splash damage, and because you don't throw them so rapidly, it's easy to see exactly how many hits an enemy will take, easy to keep stock of your ammunition, so to speak. I think this game's lighting is very pretty, but I realize it may be too bombastic for some people. Like, it is very excessively bright.
In order to spice things up, we've armed these dummies with Gadgetron flamethrowers. Our lawyers are totally cool with this.
Good job, recruits. You may just be the next Galactic Ranger. Head to the final challenge.
Come on, Ratchet. You can do this.
It's time for the final challenge. Survive a brutal onslaught of enemies, and you just might be our next Galactic Ranger. Or maybe.
This is really early in the game, but it's also a really good opportunity to demonstrate why the fusion grenades are so good. Even at their earliest level, they have really decent splash damage, as I already said. And especially with enemies that hop around in groups like the frogs, they can be extra useful. I guess they're toads, not frogs.
Impressive. Could we be looking at Solana's next Galactic Ranger?
This whole competition thing wasn't in the movie, but the movie seems unfinished in a lot of ways.
Good job, Cadet. Come see me after the show.
Huh. That wasn't so bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, the savior of Solana, Captain Qwark.
Hello, Veldin.
Hello, Captain!
He's on fire again.
I know.
My name is Copernicus Qwark, and yes, that was an impressive wall of fire I just walked past. I'm gonna be real with you folks for a moment. When President Vironix recommended I take on a new ranger, I knew just where to go. That's right. We want you!
Yeah!
I know what you're thinking. Do I have what it takes? After all, you may not have prevented Dr. Nefarious from atomizing Illyros City. You may not have stopped Neftin Prague from rendering the entire population of Iridia colorblind. Twice. After all, you may not have this chiseled jaw or godlike pectoral region, but if you have heart, then you have what it takes. You don't have what it takes.
But I have heart.
Yes, but unfortunately that heart is encased in a weak, muscleless mass of inexperience. Plus, there's your history to consider.
Got a long line of citations here. Possession of an illegal gravity repulsor.
Operation of a black market accelerator.
Willful disruption of the space-time continuum?
That is a funny story.
You're reckless. You're a loose cannon, and you're dangerous. That's my shtick.
Wait, just give me a chance.
Sorry, no time. Galaxy in jeopardy. Get back out there. And remember, you can do anything. As long as you're me. Next! Meanwhile, on planet Quartu...
Dr. Nefarious, the mad scientist who made all of this possible.
Mad suggests cognitive impairment. I'm more of a vengeful scientist. I trust you're here to meet the troops.
State your prime objective. Destroy Galactic Rangers. State your prime objective. Destroy Galactic Rangers. State your prime
Hello.
Defect detected. Preparing for immediate destruction. In 3, 2...
Oh, a defect. Go play, Victor.
Before anyone says anything, I'm well aware you can turn off these notifications. I just didn't know it at the time of my recording this footage.
The helpless defect knew that his best chance for survival lay with the facility's ventilation system. If he could just run to the vent, he might just make it out of there alive.
I know you will find the defect, Victor. You never disappoint.
The feeble defect knew that if he were to survive, he would have to throw a bomb at whatever lay in his path. The young defect spotted a spring bot ahead of him and knew that with this handy device in his arsenal, he could now defeat the deadliest of forces, gravity.
So of course this game has numerous Clank sections. They've been around since the first Ratchet and Clank, and they are mostly puzzle focused. The puzzles are a lot more developed than in the original Ratchet & Clank, but they had, what, over 10 years to work on their puzzle development skills, so I would say that seems fair. I'm not sure what this chase scene is supposed to illustrate in the gameplay. Maybe it's to get us used to Clank's basic movement or something. Or maybe it's just for fun. But either way, it's not really difficult. Wait till the red ring appears, then move left or right, and it's obvious which direction his laser is going to come from. His sweeping laser, I mean.
Suddenly, the defect spotted a power bot. This device could power up a variety of machines, but where should he throw it?
You're like really good at adding drama, man.
Thank you, Shiv. I pride myself on my penchant for storytelling.
I want to point out before I forget, because it is really easy to forget, that you can restart these puzzle sections by opening the pause menu and clicking restart. That's a really nice feature. They didn't need to implement it, and most people probably wouldn't think to implement it, so I think it bears worth drawing attention to. Maybe they included that feature specifically for Let's Players like me who would feel really embarrassed if they screwed up one of the Clank puzzles, but there's no way to be sure.
That was not so hard.
You think you can run from me?
Not that brute again.
I think the music in this game is excellent, and it's composed by the same composer who did Full Frontal Assault, which has a very underrated soundtrack, I think, but it is very distinct from the original Ratchet & Clank soundtrack. The original Ratchet & Clank soundtrack definitely a lot funkier. This game is far more orchestral, and I can understand if people don't appreciate the change. But just as the original Ratchet & Clank was a lot funkier and a lot more aggressive, this version of Ratchet & Clank is much less aggressive and much less funky, so I think the music fits. I have a bit of a hard time dodging those fires back there because there's a distinct lack of reaction time, in case you can't tell by the way the camera works. Most of the hazards in these sections come from behind you and are very clearly visible, but the fires are ahead of you, which I think is poor design.
Computer, set coordinates for the Galactic Ranger home base.
Destination set. We will never make it, but hey, what are you gonna do?
Oh dear.
I'll never be a ranger. What? No vector shell damage. Sister board appears to be intact.
I must get to Alero City. They are in danger.
Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hey, who's in danger?
An army is coming. I must warn them.
Hang on. Slow down. You've been in a crash. What do you say we get you back to my garage? I'll run a diagnostic and have you fixed up in no time.
Thank you. I appreciate the assistance.
It's no problem. So, what do I call you?
I suppose my proper designation is Warbot Defect B54296.
Maybe I'll just call you Clank. My name's Ratchet. Up and down. Yeah, there you go. You're a natural.
A million thoughts raced through Ratchet's head. Could he repair this diminutive warbot? Would it be the key to the adventure he craved? Did he leave the proto-engine on in the garage? The answer to all these questions was yes.
All right, hang on. I'll get us back to the garage.
As near I can tell, there's no reason to kill these globby things, but they are glowy, and we have a wrench, so we might as well. I mean, they're just sitting there. Aside from the large differences in the narrative, we have the swing shot really early this time around. Takes way longer to get it in the original game.
Fortunately for our furry hero, a conveniently placed crate provided Ratchet with a combustor.
Sometimes the characters will make different comments depending on how long it takes you to perform certain actions. Most of the time we're just going to complete them as quickly as possible, because there are plenty of other things to look at in the game.
Uh-oh, Qwark. What are they doing here?
I have information in my databanks that poses a threat to Chairman Drek. He must have tracked my position to your planet, so he could get it back.
Grim, listen to me. I want you to lock the garage doors and then head down into the shelter. I'll be there as soon as I can.
Copy that, Ratchet.
I'm sure you're noticing already the battles in this version of Ratchet & Clank a lot more hectic than the original game, and that's because it takes way more cues from the rest of the series. This is definitely not a replacement for the original game. Not in any way.
Whoa, is that a Qwark dropship?
Correct. Model X6Z to be exact. Also known as the dropship of death.
Great.
My favorite way to deal with this dropship is to throw a fusion grenade right as we're moving in between cover. And usually I do a far better job at this, but oh well, we have our regular blaster to fall back on. Or the combustor, as I believe it's called here. I think it is actually just called a blaster in the original Ratchet & Clank, and you also don't get it this early. But then again, the original Ratchet & Clank had a far greater focus on platforming, and its pacing was a lot less questionable. The opening to this version of Ratchet & Clank takes an immense amount of time. We just picked up a trading card, and when we get a set of those, they will give us buffs. Buffs to our weapons and such. I guess that's kind of useful, but I don't think it's necessary.
All the jobs Drek could have given us. We gotta look for some defect.
It's not that bad. We got clean air, the warm heat of the sun. This is nature. We never had any of this back on... What? What happened? Just got bit by a mosquito. Did you see the size of that thing?
So I guess this is the first big combat area, and it probably was meant to serve as a combat tutorial, which is fair. It's not that difficult, but it's still a fair bit more difficult than almost anything in the original game. Maybe that's because the original game's gameplay is far more simplistic, so it's a lot easier for me. Maybe people who are more familiar with newer Ratchet & Clank games would find this one way easier. You can already see how strafing and jumping work together in harmony to let you fly over the enemy's bullets, especially since they seem to fire them really low instead of at your head like a sensible person might. Hey look, it's warbots, and I can't for the life of me tell you how they're any different from regular Blarg soldiers.
Ratchet, this place is a mess. Disassembled weapons and engine parts everywhere. Didn't you tell me you were gonna clean it up last week?
Yeah, sorry about that. Got held up on a project.
A beginner's guide to quantum burst engines.
Just throw that anywhere. I have it bookmarked.
What's this? Fun with singularities and other cataclysmic events.
That's really more for educational purposes.
It is always good to meet a fellow academic.
Really, I just look at the pictures and then, you know, wing it.
So there are definitely more ammo crates in the background that I could be using right now. But instead of that, we're just going to use the little bit of combustor ammo we have left and then throw a wrench at the dropship. I think I did this because I wanted to demonstrate that you could kill a dropship with the wrench, but that seems like a really silly thing to point out now that I look back on it. Still, it's what I have to work with, so there you go.
Alright, Grim. Coast is clear. Can you open up?
Ratchet, one in Sony's name just exploded.
Sorry about that, Grim. Listen, get my tools ready. I just found something in the desert I need to look at.
Interesting. What kind of factory is this?
This? No, this is just a garage. Lived here since I was a kid. Come on, let's get you fixed up.
Once they were safe, Clank explained Drek's plan to attack the Hall of Heroes. With the Galactic Rangers out of the equation, Ratchet knew he had to help, even though neither he nor Clank had the upper body strength necessary for hero work.
I can totally help.
Oh, I could not ask a civilian to get involved in something so dangerous.
Well, no, I'm not just a civilian. The Rangers are actually my, friends. Why do you think I have so many pictures of them?
But why are you not in any of them?
Well, someone had to take the picture, right? I mean, come on. I even have a ship. It disassembles so it can infiltrate enemy strongholds. So what do you say? That's strange. I'm picking up something from Nivalis.
It appears to be some sort of distress signal, but it is being jammed using a Blargian signal dampener.
Don't worry. The computer would have told us if we were in any real danger.
Fatal crash imminent. Would you like to record your last will and testament?
Admittedly, that's not super promising.
Final step, attach robotic ignition system. Thank you for using help desk technology. Welcome to the Gadgetron Help Desk. We are here to offer you advice during your interplanetary travels. The Help Desk is a free service provided by Gadgetron Corporation.
So before we do anything else, we're going to go in the options menu and fix the camera and turn on the subtitles, because the camera in this game is really sluggish and slow. I imagine it wasn't at the time, but after playing newer games it's a little off-putting, even games of the same generation. Very clear difference with how this game presents itself compared to the remake. This one isn't nearly as concerned with being flashy, and I think the animation is far superior and more expressive. I realize that may be an awkward opinion, but it'll become more clear when we get to some of the minor characters, how much more expressive the animation in this game is. I'm going to hope you remember these toads because we saw them not too long ago in the remake. They're very different this time around, not nearly as aggressive, and they don't make terrifying ghastly wails when they die, they just croak. Something you'll notice right away about this game's pacing is that it goes a lot faster than the remake because it isn't bogged down with additional presentation. Even though this game is definitely longer than the remake, it feels way faster because of that. It also has a lot more going on narratively, but we'll have plenty of time to talk about that later. You may remember these platforms from in the remake, and indeed a lot of the areas in the original Ratchet & Clank are portrayed accurately in the remake. The story, of course, and gameplay almost entirely different, but some of the environments are kept the same. I was going to say it seems like an odd place to portray the most fidelity, but I suppose having level design from earlier games to use can actually be kind of helpful. Even if the gameplay is entirely different, that way you don't have to create entirely new level design, and you can just find a way to work the new enemy types around the levels that already exist. While we're still on the topic of presentation, collecting bolts in the original Ratchet & Clank, much less satisfying than in the remake, but they worked with what they had, you know? Right here is our first enemy with a projectile, and we're going to pull out the bomb glove, which you may know as the fusion grenade in most of the other Ratchet & Clank games, but it started as the bomb glove. It wasn't until going Commando that they started to get more creative names. These robots we're fighting with the zappy projectiles, they're only projectiles in the technical sense. They're incredibly short range, is what I'm trying to say. That was excellent. I like the bomb glove for very similar reasons to the reasons I like the fusion grenade. The bomb glove is less useful than the fusion grenade because it can't be leveled up. But being able to throw it in an arc is actually very, very important in this game. It's a very useful feature. You may notice that we're not aiming it with the cursor and we're just kind of winging it. And I honestly prefer throwing the bombs that way, but it wouldn't work for the newer game. And with the first level over, it's already time to meet Clank. That was pretty fast.
Interesting.
Yay!
You're quite handy with your wrench.
You bet. I built that ship with it.
Currently, I'm in search of someone who could be of assistance in saving the solar system. Do you know where I might find that fellow?
Well, he's on the radio every week. Other than that, no. Hey, what's with all this save the solar system stuff anyway?
Hello, citizens of... My race, the Blog, have a small problem. Our planet has become so polluted, overpopulated, and poisonous that we are no longer able to dwell here. But I, Chairman Drek, have a solution. We are constructing a pristine new world using the choicest planetary components available. So, what does this mean to you might ask? Using highly sophisticated technology, which you couldn't possibly understand, we will be extracting a large portion of your planet and adding it to our new one. Unfortunately, this change in mass will cause your planet to spin out of control and drift into the sun, where it will explode into a flaming ball of gas. But, of course, sacrifices must be made. Thank you for your cooperation.
Cut!
And if you don't like it, you can take your whiny, sniveling, snot-nosed populations, form a line behind me, and kiss my... We're still on? Well, turn it off, you idiot!
The people on those planets are hosed. Well, good luck getting Captain Qwark to help you.
Actually, you could help me. If you could use your ship to take me to the coordinates contained in this infobot, I might be able to gather further information there.
Even if I wanted to, I can't.
I'm missing a crucial component of the ship.
The robotic ignition system.
How did you know that?
I, sir, happen to be equipped with the latest in robotic ignition systems. My programming allows me to start any ship I choose.
So, I agree to take you to this wherever it is, and you get my ship started for me?
That is what I'm proposing.
Deal.
This could be a problem. Take care of it.
Whoa, this is great! So that's where I've been stuck this whole time.
Please return your appendages to the steering mechanism, sir.
Huh? Oh, right. Sorry. Oh, and by the way, you can stop calling me sir. The name's Ratchet.
Pleased to make your acquaintance, sir.
You got a name?
My serial number is V54296.
Oops. I'll just call you Clank for short. Hang on.
So you see, it would be most beneficial if your citizens were not in the city when my workers begin removing it.
Preposterous! I will not stand for this.
Unfortunately, you have no choice in the matter.
Let's just see what Captain Qwark has to say about that, my good man. I don't see what's so funny. Captain Qwark could dispatch you without even breaking a sweat, you puny...
You have now officially worn out your welcome and my patience.
This is your last chance. Stop this madness now!
Okay, wait. You're right. I will withdraw my troops.
Really?
No! He's all yours, gentlemen. Try not to leave any marks.